Hello team. Welcome to a neck flexion special with the Fitness Alchemists. This is one that's been personally very transformational for me. Transformational. Words are gonna be hard today, apparently. You're welcome. So all you need for this class is a comfy place to sit. You can do this one at your desk and your own hands. That's really it. We're gonna be using our neck car, if you're familiar with that, to test and sort of retest as we go through the class. So I really want to highlight this theme of noticing your sensations, giving your body some new inputs, and then noticing any new information that's available. And again, thinking about any sensations that you run into as useful information, neither bad nor good. Cool? All right, so we're gonna just start with the pieces of our neck car. So if you've never done this before, this is a great place to start. So you wanna find a position where you're sitting upright, spine is long and relatively effortless to be that way. Take your shoulders and just give them a little shrug and then an anti-shrug. We're gonna keep those shoulders in that anti-shrug position and start exploring our neck flexion. So think about taking the tip of your chin in towards your throat as much as you're able to. And then once you've maxed that out, start tipping your nose towards your collarbone. And then even further, if you can bring your nose towards your t-shirt logo, again, any amount that's pain-free and where you're feeling a pleasant stretch down the backside of your neck. Once you've maxed that out for yourself, start to build it back up from the bottom to the top. And as you come upright, you can also explore a little bit of neck extension, lifting the chin. Just make sure you're not dropping your head off of a cliff behind you, but that you're thinking about length through the neck versus any collapse feeling in the back of the neck. And again, only explore that if it's feeling good. Keep going here. You're on the clock, exploring full neck flexion as segmentally as you can. If that's an unfamiliar thing for you, don't worry about it yet. We're gonna get into it. And make sure you're breathing. It's really, really common to stop breathing when you're focusing on learning a new movement or specifying a movement more than you usually do. So it's just really helpful to the nervous system to keep that breath coming in and out. Nice. Awesome, team. Next time you get back to center, let that go. Give yourself a little wiggle if you need it. Recommit to the shoulders being down. And we're gonna explore lateral flexion. So this is ear to shoulder. Just pick one ear, bring it towards the shoulder, feeling a general sense of stretch on that lengthening side, and then let it come back up in the middle, and then same thing to the other side. As you're exploring lateral flexion, just a reminder that we always want to respect closing angle pain. You can go back and forth side to side here. So if you're bending your right ear towards your right shoulder and you feel some pain, pinch, or discomfort on the right side, you're going to limit your range of motion to just outside where you start to feel that unpleasant sensation. Again, if you're feeling stretch, maybe even a little bit of nervy tingling on the lengthening side. So again, if my right ear is going to my right shoulder, that would be the left. That's all good. You can explore that as long as it feels safe. Trust that sort of, does this feel threatening or safe sense of your nervous system. And breathing. I feel like I have to remind myself to breathe today. Okay, next time you get to center, let that go. And then the last motion that we're gonna explore is rotation. So thinking about a laser pointer shooting out the front tip of your nose, you're gonna twist that laser pointer towards one shoulder, maybe even looking past that shoulder if it feels good to you. Find where your motion stops, and then take that laser pointer over to the other side. And again, Will's doing a really great job of this. Nothing is moving below the t-shirt collar. If this is new for you, you might be noticing that there's like a little impulse to twist from your waist. We just ask that you try to keep that quiet. So as you explore neck motion, try to keep the rest of your spine out of the jam, which would mean feeling like your t-shirt logo is staring straight ahead. Good. Next time you get back to center, let that go. So now we're going to put all of those pieces together into the full neck car or controlled articular rotation. If this is new for you, just think about drawing the biggest circle that you can. Now the laser pointer is shooting out of your chin. If you're familiar with your neck cars, try to feel where are all those pieces that I just explored fitting into this more global circle. Cool? All right, gang. So again, sitting up nice and tall with the spine. Give me a nice active anti-shrug. Start with flexion, chin tucks into the throat, nodding the nose towards the collarbones, and then tilting your nose or your eyebrows towards your t-shirt logo. Once you've maxed that out, start tracing one collarbone to the right with your chin, maybe looking past that shoulder, and then tracing a big circle across the ceiling with your chin, with that laser pointer shooting out of your chin, all the way over and maybe past the next shoulder. Tracing your collarbone back to center. When you hit center, pause and then reverse. We're gonna tick-tock back and forth for time here. I've got you on the clock, so no need to count reps. As you explore this motion back and forth, my invitation, as this is our first assessment of the neck for today, is to really tune into all the sensations that you feel. Where do you feel contraction or a sense of muscles engaging? Keep moving and breathing. Where do you feel stretching sensations? Are there any places where you feel temperature changes, like a hot ping or a cold bit? And are there any places right now that are a closing ankle pinch that you're needing to work around? Just making some internal field notes of those sensations. Beautiful. Last 3, 2, and 1. Excellent. We're going to come back to that movement throughout the class to keep checking in and see how things are changing. So next up, just warm up your hands a little bit, get some heat going there. And then we're going to just explore the cervical column or the segments, the vertebra of your neck. So you're going to start with 2 fingers, if it feels good, right at the base of your skull. Go ahead and find that kind of bony ridge, and then just start kind of rubbing your way downward on either side of your neck vertebra. This feels so good. I just want to do this every day. And just explore down to where you feel like you're just below your collarbones, but you're still exploring those neck segments. And you can move up and down. You can play with different sort of rubbing techniques. This is not, we're not expecting you to be suddenly a professional masseur or masseuse, but we're really just inviting you to, through tactile feedback, bring a little bit more life and awareness and sensory zhuzh to the segments of your neck. So take a few more minutes there. Yeah, play with different types of touch. Good, and then take a little break. Nice. So just want to also acknowledge that for some folks, this position of the shoulder and arm might not be that sustainable or that accessible. So if you need to take breaks as we go through this next section for your arms and shoulders, please do that. All right, so now we're going to use those fingers. We're going to find that top of the neck. So feel that bony ridge of the head, skull, cranium, and then just below that there's a little dip. Can you hang out in that little dip? And then we're going to explore a little bit of flexion there. So you're going to tuck your chin in towards your throat and feel that in fact that dip starts to fill. Something pushes back into your fingers. So just play with that a few times. I'm going to give a little side view here. So as I tuck my chin here, my fingers stay in place. I tuck my chin in, like I'm trying to make as many chins as I can, and I feel that little push back into my fingers, which is different from dropping the head forward. Yes? We're trying to get those top segments to get a little bit of motion. If I just drop my head forward, I'm actually moving from much lower down. Great. So then move your fingers down 1 segment or so. And try the same gig there. Can you tuck your chin and can you feel that little push back into your fingers of your cervical segments? Yeah, this one might feel a little harder to access. There's gonna be places along the neck where you're like, I'm trying to move and nothing is happening. Certainly that's my experience with some of the segments that have been out of motion for a long time. Try one more here. Beautiful. And then check out your hands if you need to. And then you're going to just move down another segment. So you're somewhere in the kind of mid-throat range now. And again, tuck the chin, start to round your neck, and you're looking for the feeling of the neck vertebra, the bones, pushing into your fingers. So in Will's case, they would be pushing back towards the wall behind him. In your case, pushing back towards the wall behind you. Beautiful. Nice. And then we'll do one more. So if you feel down all the way to the base of your neck, there's usually one that sticks out more than the others. Can you be just above that? Find a little dip in between two bones. See if you can get a little nod of the chin and feel motion in your fingertips. You can totally use one hand instead of the other. That's the other way to kind of modify this for your shoulders. And give one arm a break while you use the other arm. Good. Great, and let that go. So again, make a little mental note of which segments moved fairly easily when you asked and which sections or segments were like kind of a no man's land. We're gonna dig in on that a little bit later. Okay, so we're gonna do our first full car to reassess. So again, sitting up nice and tall with your spine. Think of that laser pointer on the chin. You're gonna tuck it in, make as many chins as you can. Nod your nose towards your t-shirt logo, and then start tracing your collarbone to one side. Either side is fine. Beautiful. Tracing up and across the ceiling, big rainbow, bringing length to the neck, all the way over to the other side. And then tuck that chin in as you come back to center, pause there, and reverse. Tracing to the shoulder you just looked at, maybe looking past if it's available. Good, and just keep tick-tocking back and forth. And again, this is your moment to really zoom inward. What sensations am I feeling compared to my first set of neck cars of today? Is there any new information available just from those little inputs we've given so far? There might be new info, there might not be. Either way is totally fine. Good, last 5 seconds. Beautiful. All right. So next up, you get to take a little stand. So have a stand. I'm gonna switch spots with Will here. We're just gonna do a little hip hinge. So standing with your feet about hip width distance, create a little tension in your belly like you're braced and ready for a playful karate chop to your belly button. And then you're gonna push your butt back and fold right at your hip crease as much as feels good. And then press your feet into the floor to stand up. And just sample that a couple times. You can let your knees bend. You'll feel your weight shift a little bit into your heels, but make sure you're keeping your full footprint on the floor. And then it's helpful if you want to have like one hand on your belly. If it's accessible, you can put one hand on your low back to feel that your spine shape isn't changing much. We're really trying to fold right in that hip crease and get a little hip hinge action. You might feel a little stretch in the backs of your thighs. Think about keeping your neck relatively neutral, right? So you're not gonna fix your gaze on one point. You're just gonna let your neck move with the rest of your spine for right meow. All right, good. So next up, we're gonna camp out in that hinge and we're gonna explore our segmental neck flexion. So hang out in a hinge that feels sustainable for you. Again, pack some air into your belly and then start at the chin. Can you tuck your chin into your throat, making as many chins as you can, and then curl your nose towards your t-shirt logo, maybe feeling a very different stretch in the back of your neck, and then unwind that segment by segment. And again, if it feels safe and good, looking up with your chin just slightly to come into some cervical extension. Will's showing a lot of cervical extension here. That might not feel safe for you, so I want you to really find the shapes that feel safe for right now. Back and forth like this, you're on the clock. We'll only keep you here for 45 seconds so the legs don't get too tired. But just exploring how much can you segment or move one vertebra at a time into that rounded nose tucked to the chest position and into that chin lifted, eyes looking up position. Recommend keeping the eyes open and letting them move with you. So your gaze is going to travel as you do this. Again, if that doesn't feel good, don't have to. Last 3, 2, and 1. Come on up. Nice. So if we only ever do neck stuff from seated or standing with our spines upright, then those joints kind of only know how to exert force in that position. So this is why we want to expose you to some different angles today. So the next option is to come into quadruped. Now the spine is fully parallel to the ground. And this is going to put even more of sort of a gravitational pull on the neck segments as we do our segmentation. If you are at your desk and you can't get all the way down to the floor, you can also just put your forearms on your desk, yeah? So I want to give you some options here. And similarly, if you like getting on the floor, you could also come down to your forearms if your wrists don't like being supporting of your body weight. All right, gang, pick your poison, get yourself set up, create some good tension in your midsection. So we're going to do our best to keep the spine still. Make your hands or your forearms heavy to gather some tension into the shoulder area. So that's going to really be a nice muscly statue. And then start segmenting through the neck. Can you tuck your chin up into your throat? Find that same stretch in the upper part of the neck. And then start to nod your nose towards your chest. Nice, Will. Keep pushing into the floor. Try not to collapse the shoulders. You want to think that you're really maintaining a nice strong push, whether you're on your forearms or your wrists. And then start to build back up segment by segment, coming through that chin tuck, and then starting to lift the chin any amount that feels good. This can be an uncomfortable position if we're not training it regularly. We want to incrementally progress, adding a little bit of force as our nervous system is willing. We don't win any points by bullying our bodies, do we? Good. Keep working here. Last 15 seconds. Breathing in there somewhere. Nice work, Will. Good. Keep pressing into the floor or pressing into your desk. Strong shoulders. 3, 2, and 1. Beautiful. Okay. Coming back to your comfortable seated or standing position where your spine can be upright, we're now going to do a capsule car for the neck segment. So this is really one where we're going to get very, very precise with which segment we're targeting. And we're going to do a little bit of that forward flexion, chin to chest. And then we're going to add in a little bit of rotation. And what this does is we're asking the segment to open on the back side. And then we're rotating, which is going to just invite even more space to open up. So this is going to pull in some good nutrition to those connective tissues and start to generally free up more motion of those segments. So we're going to use our tactiles again. And for the first round, I want you to choose a segment where you felt that it was pretty easy to feel that flexion motion when we did the drill where we were feeling the bones move back into the fingers. So pick one that felt good, that felt easy, felt like you had good command there. Take a deep breath in, pack some air down, keeping your torso nice and strong. You're gonna tuck your chin to feel that, again, segment of the spine pushing into your fingers. Hold that chin tuck, and now start to shine your chin laser pointer over to your right shoulder, getting a little rotation, and then holding that chin tuck as you come through center over to your left shoulder. Back and forth. Each time you pass through center, try to increase the chin tuck, which might feel like increasing the sensation of contraction in the front of neck muscles that are deep to your throat. Those are often a new sensation if you haven't been doing a lot of neck training. Make sure you're breathing. We've got 5 more seconds here. Keeping that strong chin tuck, rotating. Again, listening to your sensations, letting what feels safe guide your range of motion for 3, 2, 1, and slowly let that go. Give your arms a little breaky break. Yeah, nice. Okay, so for round 2, I'm going to invite you to choose a spot where it was harder to feel motion. And we're going to just see what kind of movement and control we can invite there. Yes? So find with your fingertips that segment where you felt like, ooh, I don't know if I have control there yet. And then when you're ready, start to find flexion, chin to chest or nose moving towards t-shirt logo until you feel any movement in that spot. And then start your laser pointer, shining towards your right shoulder and shining towards your left shoulder. Beautiful. Going slow enough that you're not going to unpleasantly surprise yourself. This is really important, especially when we're working with these areas that are not as well connected. Sometimes there's sort of protective fear mist happening there, which is not a literal thing, but is sort of the way it feels in my body. And so if we can really move slow and smooth, we can start to gently lift that veil, lift that mist, and bring some awareness back. Last 5. Breathing in there somewhere. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let that go. Nice. Yeah. Okay. So last but not least, we're going to just bring it all back to the full neck car. This is our last reassessment for yourself. So take a deep breath in, pack that air down, make yourself into a nice muscly statue from the collar of your t-shirt down, and then begin your full neck car. Neck tucking in towards the throat. Nice. Nose nodding slowly towards the chest as segmentally as you can. Once you max out flexion, start to trace your collarbone to one side. Beautiful. Looking past that shoulder if it's available. Tracing your rainbow across the ceiling with your chin. Coming all the way around at your own pace. When you get back to center, rewind. Keep tick-tocking back and forth. We're on the clock for this one. What can you notice? Are there new sensations of stretch available? Are there different sensations of contraction? Maybe they're turned up. Maybe there's new muscles contracting that you weren't aware of before or weren't feeling before. Is there a sense of more freedom, more smoothness? 3, 2, and 1. Beautiful. All right, team, that's a shorty neck class for you. Feel free to take any pieces of this and sneak them into your workday. Even a 2-minute break to do a little active motion for your neck in between Zoom calls or what have you can make a huge difference in how good your body feels.